He's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me.
All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I'm gonna sing of the goodness of God.
gonna make it through. 'Cause I'm standing strong on you. I'm gonna make it through. This farmhouse is built on you. Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaking. I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus. He's never let me down. He's faithful through generations. So why would he fail now? He won't. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. He won't fail. He won't fail. He won't.
Okay, you guys can be seated.
I'm going to go ahead and pray for us. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. We just thank you for this service this morning. We thank you for the message that Brother Doug brought on just about financial and success in this world, Lord. And we just thank you for everyone who's here, Lord. We thank you for the summer that we've had, for all the students who went to camp and mission trip, Lord. Just thank you for just using us to just bless the children's home that's in Fort Smith, Lord, to just create something that was awesome and just to work hard for them. We thank you for, again, everyone who's here. Just help us have a safe week coming up, and just we thank you for this music we just sang. In Jesus' name, amen.
Man, thank you, brother. Let me keep that one right. Go ahead and leave it on. Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect. So, again, we're doing a missions trip recap, and as we're talking, and as I'm talking to the kids and sponsors, this is just going to run. It's going to pop about every 3 seconds. If you miss it, it's going to roll over again. There's about 200 pictures on there, and so we did a whole lot. Every missions trip is different, and I'm going to be honest with you. This missions trip, probably the last missions trip that I'd been on with you guys, that we worked this hard, is probably, I'm going to say Greenville, Tennessee. We went up there to work at the camp and the children's home up there, and there was a tornado that actually came through, and we ended up doing tornado relief the whole time we were there, and then doing services at night. But this mission trip, every mission trip is different. Some mission trips are ministry mission trips. Some you make relationship mission trips. Some is work. And we did a little bit of everything on this mission trip. A lot of these pictures have been scrolling back there, so a lot of you guys have seen a lot of these pictures. 3 seconds that might have been too quick. It's popping pretty quick, isn't it? That might have made it 5 seconds, but neither here nor there. The way this is going to work out tonight is I'm going to talk a little bit for just a couple minutes, and then I'm going to have a group of like 5 come up, and I'm going to ask them some questions, and we're going to spend about 10 minutes doing that, and then have another group of 5. And I haven't coaxed these guys. These guys don't know what I'm going to ask them, and I haven't told them. So this is going to be raw. This might be really good or really bad. I don't know, But we had about 34, 35 of us go. And if you're sitting there, you're going, wow, just only 34, 35. Didn't you have like almost 50 go to church camp? If you don't know, to go on a missions trip, you have to have completed at least half of the service projects that we do throughout the year. And this year, I think we did 13 different service projects. So you have to even be able to be eligible to go, you had to have completed that. And then if you move up, you have to wait a year. You have to wait a year before you get to go on missions trip. And then we had some that couldn't go for different reasons. But we had an incredible group that went. 3 people that wanted to be here tonight aren't here. One of them is Miss Deborah. I'd said this morning that she was going to try to make it, and she texted me about an hour ago or so, a couple hours ago, and said that she has been super sick. She tested yesterday for the flu and COVID, and both of them came back negative. But she said she just didn't want to bring anything up here, and she was real sick, and she's really sad. And she asked me to tell you guys a few things. So it would have meant a lot for me for these 3 to come up, because the other 2 wanted to speak themselves, and then they couldn't come up. But Miss Deborah she's the director up there, and Brother Doug kind of mentioned it this morning. She is an incredible lady, but I don't think I have ever been on a missions trip where someone bragged on your kids, on your teens, as much as her. You know, all of us adults that kept going in there, I know that she caught Marlo and Nidra a couple times, but every time I would walk into her office to ask her something, it seemed like she would break down. And she would just start saying, I've never seen the likes of this. And she kept telling me, and she told Brother Doug this, and I think he alluded to this earlier today. He said, we've had not just teen groups, but we've had adult groups come in here and spend an entire day. And she said, I have never seen teenagers work so hard. Again, she's asked me to tell you all this, and I'm bragging on your kids. She said, I've never seen teenagers work so hard. She said, and they keep coming in, going to the bathroom, and I've never heard of one of them complain. I was like, well, you're just not listening. No, honestly, though, I'm joking. These guys, they didn't complain. I mean, I had to find a couple of them every once in a while because they were hiding. No, they did. They worked so hard. But she said they were like ants. When the van would pull up, they would just be like, and then so much got done. She had several projects for us when we got there. A couple things I always tell the kids before we go on missions trip. What's my number 1 rule? Be flexible. Flexibility. Because you never know what you're going to when you go on a missions trip, whether it's out of the country, whether it's in the country. You never know. Absolutely. You have no clue. And we didn't really know. And when we hit the ground there, and she showed us this area right here that was super thick. You can see them standing there. It was super thick with trees. And she's like, I want the center of this cleared out, and I would like it to be a movie theater. It's like, we can do that. She goes, really? I had no clue. I just say yes to everything. It's like, we can do that. And she said, okay. And I said, now what else of course we knew that we were going to build the volleyball court. We knew that we were going to, we thought that we might be clearing some fence out. But that first day, she came out there and she's just like, that afternoon, she came out there and she's like, I cannot believe you guys got so much done so quickly. I've got a lot more projects for you, which was great, which was super. But it was, and we were afraid to finish a project because we knew she was going to have more. But she just went on and on and on, and I want to thank you guys. One of the things I always want us to walk away from a mission trip, I want people to be able to look into our eyes and to look how we worked and our actions and what we say and what we do, and I want them to see Jesus. I don't want them to see Crossroads. I don't want them to see us. I want them to see Jesus. And these kids, they showed Jesus. They showed Jesus so much. There was we started working on the volleyball court. And I'm going to let these guys talk about this here in a second. But we started working on the volleyball court. And there was a young lady that lived in the house there next to us, a young teenage girl. And she came walking out, and she was standing. She goes, I can't believe this. And I said, what's that? And she goes, when you started doing this, I didn't know what you were building. And then all of a sudden, I heard someone say volleyball, and she said, I can't believe this. And I said, well, yeah, we wanted to do this for you. And she's like, but you don't understand. We just went to camp. And these are kids that are there because they're in a rough situation. And she said, we just went to camp last week. And she said, we played volleyball. And it's the first time I got to play volleyball since I was a little girl. And we played it. And she said, and I looked at one of the other girls and said, wouldn't it be so neat if we had something like this at our house where we live? And she said, I woke up this morning and you guys were putting a volleyball court in. She was like, it was like God heard me. And that was super, super cool. The other two people that wasn't able to be here is Jeremy and Oscar. And you know, those guys are amazing. If you want anything free done, call them. And right, Julie? I did not tell you that either. Honestly, those guys came down there and they brought the tractor, and they brought the stump grinder, and those guys were lifesavers. But both of them, you heard Jeremy stand up here. What is Jeremy? 6'9" or 6'11", 6'12", 13, 6'5". He stood right up in front of you guys with tears in his eyes, saying that I can't stand up here and tell you how hard these guys work because I'm doing them an injustice. They work so hard. And Oscar told me, like I said, neither one of them could be here tonight. Oscar said, please tell the kids and tell their parents how proud I was of them. And he said, it's just incredible. Oscar's got to go on a mission trip with us before, so he knew what to expect. He knew these guys really, really worked hard. But in saying that, like I said, the way this is going to work, I'm going to pull about 5 of you up here, and I'm going to ask you some questions. And I hope some of these pictures have kind of, spurred some memories and some thoughts. So I need my first 5 volunteers. All right. Give me like one of them. We had so many sponsors that came, and we had some of our junior sponsors that got to come up with us. And let's see. Give me one of my junior sponsors, either Nick or 1 or 2 of them too. Come on, Jacob. You're just looking at me and looking the other way. Come on. I need. Come on, you ladies right here. Come on up. There's 4. There's 4. I need a guy represented. There we go. All of you guys right there. There's my first victims. All right, so I'm going to ask you some questions. Hello? There we go. All right, pass this back and forth. All right? All right, I want you guys, I don't care if you all answer this. If you've got something good to say, you can say it. If you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything, okay? So I'm going to ask you a couple questions here, and even if a couple of you answer it, that's fine, all right? All right, so what was the best thing that you remember on the missions trip? And I'm saying this to everybody right now. It don't all have to be Jesus and hymnals, okay? I mean, those are good answers. But I want you to remember the missions trip, fun and good, and we're going to kind of cover everything. So what was the best thing you remember about the missions trip? Go. Somebody's got it?
I think the best thing that I saw was that everybody that was there just working so hard, working as a team and, showing God's glory through all that. And I think that was just so cool.
What I saw was that, coming from me, I know I work hard, but just seeing everyone else being able to work just as hard, if not even harder than me, that really surprised me.
I liked building the movie theater. That was a lot of fun.
All right, nobody can hear you. Say that again. You got to put it up to your mouth. There we go. And talk loud. There you go.
Okay. I liked building the movie theater. It was fun.
I feel like we just got closer as a group. I don't know, some of us were staying out on the balcony, and we got closer just by spending time together.
I liked the rain on the first day because even though we couldn't do much, we still had fun in it.
So I'm going to break in there for a second. So the balcony. We stayed at Cavanaugh Church, and we stayed in the balcony. There was a picture up here, and you see a bunch of people in the balcony. And girls stayed over on one side, and guys stayed over on the other. And there was a couple girls in a couple rooms, a couple guys in some rooms. But so we actually stayed at Cavanaugh Church, and their youth room is their old sanctuary. Their balcony is bigger than ours, is split in the middle, and we appreciate them so much. We got to do a service there on Wednesday night, which was awesome. The rain she talked about it wasn't just a little bit of rain. Matter of fact, that's one of the things. Deborah came out and she's like, I cannot believe you guys are still working. It was pouring down rain. And we continued working until it started lightning. And the lightning got pretty close. So what do we do? What do we do when it started lightning?
We stood right under the front, house.
Yeah.
And we didn't go inside. We just stood there.
Yeah, there was a small little awning, and we all kind of crammed in this little awning out front. And it for two reasons, actually. One, the rain didn't come until we were super sweaty and hot, because it was super hot. But the other reason, and so we stinketh, and we were soaking wet, but they had the air conditioner. I probably wasn't on that high in there, but in that office, a couple people went in there, because she kept saying, you guys can come in here, and we're like, no, we're okay. But a couple of them went inside the building, and they came back out, and they're like, it's so cold. And so we just stood under this awning for how long, you think? A couple hours. A couple hours sitting there staring at each other. It was awesome. And but yeah, we sat there for a while. Instead of packing up and going home, instead of calling it a day. And then when the lightning, because my phone would tell me lightning strike within 15 minutes, or 15 miles. And finally, it's still raining. And everybody was ready to go back to work. So we just jumped right out there. And the worst part can anybody remember what the worst part about the rain was? Yes, right there. Say that again.
The shoes smell.
The shoes. So that evening, we went back to Kavanaugh Church, and we walked in. We all took our shoes off, like in the entry. Real quickly, we moved them outside. It stunk that place up. I'm surprised they didn't run us out the next day. And matter of fact, I was actually joking with the youth pastor. I was like, yeah, we were afraid we stunk. He goes, I did. I walked in this building. I was like, what is that smell? Crossroads is a cool church, but all them people stink. Our shoes were sweaty. Our shoes were wet. And the stinketh didn't go away from our shoes. We just stuck them outside and let them get wet all night long and put them on the next morning and kept going. So what was you going to say?
My favorite part was probably sitting in the shade of the finished movie theater.
All right, so next question. We got a few more minutes here. Here we go. So one thing that you experienced, not your favorite, but one thing you experienced on the mission trip that really stuck out to you, that you're like, that was, and it could be something fun, but that was really cool. What's the one thing?
Probably the thankfulness of all the kids who saw us working, and they were so happy that they saw us finishing it, and they got to play with all of it. So that was cool.
That was cool. The kids didn't come out for several days. We didn't even know there was kids there. They kind of stayed in there. One thing, it was hot outside.
How easily everyone worked together. Like even the new people who just moved up, they didn't stay to the side or anything. They got in and worked like everybody else did.
Everybody worked, and that's the coolest thing. And that's one thing Miss Deborah kept saying. She said, every time we have groups come up here, there's that one group that stands over here and does nothing, and that other group that stands over here and does nothing. She said, I kept looking out there, and everybody was working. She goes, I couldn't believe it.
I'm going to agree with Corbin and Adri, just how they were so thankful for us. I asked one of the girls for a host key, and she led me where to go and was just super thankful and appreciative to just everything we were doing, even though we were getting rained on and we're super sweaty and gross. They were just so appreciative.
We were very sweaty. We're going to say that over and over again. I don't think you understand the smell.
I guess one thing that stood out to me was how fast we got everything done, because not gonna lie, I did not think we were gonna get everything done at first, but we got a lot done and then some.
I think one of the things that stood out to me was, kind of all of that, what they've been saying, everybody working and how fast we got everything done, but really how appreciative all the people were, Miss Deborah and all the kids.
They stole everything I was going to say.
So think of something else. how often you sat on the tractor and acted like you was working?
Hey. I only did it mainly during lunch.
He did. I will say that. He only sat up there. We would stop to break for lunch. And man, did we eat great, right? What did we eat for lunch?
Sandwiches.
Peanut butter sandwiches, yeah. But Adam would grab a sandwich and go sit on the John Deere tractor, put his hat down like this, and so many pictures of Adam sitting there. It doesn't even look like he worked. He did work. He worked hard. He worked super hard. All right, last thing real quick. Does anybody, before we go, the fun thing, I get another group up, something that we did fun. I know we had 2 big fun trips, but there was a lot of fun stuff. What was the best thing about the fun part of it, not just the working part of it? You don't have to say anything if you don't want to. Just pass it. There we go.
The hot tub.
The hot tub. The hot tub.
The lazy river inside of the basement.
The lazy river.
On Tuesday of like our missions trip, we played slip and slide kickball. Although I popped my knee out doing that, I still had a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, their church challenged us to a slip and slide kickball game, and their youth group, not their whole church, but their youth group, and that was a lot of fun. So you'll see pictures where people are diving into swimming pools. That was a lot of fun.
Everything was really fun, but I liked the kickball and the lazy river.
The lazy river.
Staying up till midnight watching movies.
Yeah. So you guys can sit down. Thank you so much. I'm gonna pull 5 more up here or 6 more up here in just a second. So if you look and you see a hot tub and you like, did they go on missions trip or did they go on a retreat? So I always take the kids somewhere fun, and we were gonna go to Silver Dollar City, and so many of these guys and you guys had season passes, and then somebody else called me and said, hey, I've got like 8 I've got 8 passes that I can't use. Can you use them? I was like, absolutely. So we saved about $2,000 in cost of getting into Silver Dollar City, which, so you're thinking, really, back up. That's a lot of money. We saved about $1,000 getting into Silver Dollar City, and so I was like, we raised this money, and I was looking at hotels, and unfortunately, I think you guys are going to understand, in today's day and time, I really don't feel comfortable unless I absolutely have to asking a sponsor to go in with a couple of kids that's not theirs. When you go into a hotel, you get 2 beds. That means an adult is sleeping with a teenager and 2 teenagers are sleeping together, or somebody's sleeping on the floor. And this was probably one of unfortunately, the direction, before, my goodness, I've done mission trips for, 20 some years, and it's like you don't really think about it. But unfortunately, you have to think about that kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, and I'm juggling around, and I don't know, I think it was Brooke or somebody suggested a Airbnb, so I started looking at that, and we found an Airbnb that was on sale that was way better than I expected when we got there. How many stories was this thing? 3 stories? 3 stories. It had a swimming pool, a lazy river, 2 hot tubs, 2 game rooms, a movie room, front room that could have been a movie room. It slept 54 people. It was incredible. Regular about $3,000 a night. But it was on such a special, when I called and checked on it, we only needed it for 1 night. The money we saved to go to Silver Dollar City and the money that we would have spent going to a hotel, it was less than all of that. And that was just a huge blessing. And when we started looking at the pictures, I think a lot of the kids were more excited about that place than Silver Dollar City. We were at Silver Dollar City all day long, and when we got there, it was just a blast. And it was on the lake, overlooking the lake. It had a deck on it that had a fire pit and chairs, and the deck was like I don't know, I think it was like, the deck was bigger than my house, my entire house. So it was like 1,800 square foot, 2,000 square foot. The deck was the top deck. And then, like I said, it was just incredible. And everybody was like, this is so great. This is so great. I'm like, yeah, this is Marlo and I's, summer home. We just don't tell too many people. We don't tell too many people. All right, I need 5 more. Come on up here. Come on, Bailey. There we go. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Brooke or Nick, one of you guys want to come with them? Oh, Brooke's like, go, Nick. Go, Nick. All right. Like I said, as you're watching the pictures, if you want to comment, if you guys up here want to comment on the pictures, do so. If you're like, oh, I seen that and I really want to say something about it. So, okay. What was your best day? I want to hear real quick a summary about your best day on missions trip. All right. I'm going to start down at this end this time. What did I do with that? There we go. Hello. There we go.
My best day.
And hey, put it right up to your mouth and talk loud.
Probably like the first day. I don't know. It's just something about the rain cooling it off. And though we had to be under for lightning and all that, once we could come out and start working again, it just continued to rain. And it was hot. And it wasn't like it was cold, but it cooled it off a lot. And at that point, we're just like, we're dirty, we're messy, we're stinky, just whatever. We're just doing what we, ripping up our shirts and stuff. I think I was wearing something that I would want to keep nice, but it didn't end up, I don't know, that was...
Don't wear anything you want to keep nice to missions trip.
And either that for me or probably Wednesday, because we got to do the service and Brother Rob got to give his testimony in a super quick fashion. But just getting to lead the congregation, this group that was up here in worship was probably it's just a whole other place, a whole other group. But yeah, and then and then after that night we went to Brahms. And Brahms made it all that much better.
Yeah, no kidding. I forgot about going to Brahms.
Yeah.
I forgot about going to Brahms. Yeah, on their service that night, I got told very quickly, because we were leading their service that night, and they said, how many songs you got? And I got with my praise and worship team and found out how many songs I got. And they had asked me to give my testimony that night. And I said, sure. And my testimony is usually about 4.5 hours long. And that was a joke. But a little bit of a joke. So, when we got there, I had got an email right before the service that night. It was like, okay, so you've got this many songs, so you're going to have, by the way, you need to be, so Brother Will's going to get up and say something, and then the praise and worship team's going to get up and say something, and then Brother Jason, which is their executive pastor, which I went to elementary school with and high school with, but he's about 6 or 8 years younger than me, so I don't remember him that much, but he remembers me a whole lot, and even put up pictures of elementary school. But he took about a long time before I got to go up there, so I had to condense everything down to like 15 minutes. 15, 20 minutes. It was really, really, really short. But it's funny because in the email I got, it said, Brother will tackle you if you're not ready to be done. 5 minutes before service is over, we'll have a concert of prayer, and then we leave. We will leave sharp. You have 1 hour for the entire thing. And I was like, okay, wow. And it's funny because Brother Jason kept going on and on and on and on, and I think Marlo and everybody's looking at me like, there's no way. I got up and said, I was hurt, I'm healed, bye. It was an amazing night. People came to the altar, and it was really, really amazing. Go for it.
Okay, I definitely agree with Nick about the rain. That was really nice the first day because we were just starting to work, and then it cooled it down quite a bit. But I really enjoyed when we built the benches out of the trees that we cut down, that Rob did. I could see his eyes. He loved destroying stuff, you can tell. And
And just like seeing the beautiful wood that was inside the trees was really neat, and like how we used what God has put on the earth and rebar and stuff, but how we used that to build something that they could use for the kids. I thought that was really cool.
Jeremy brought basically a portable mill, and Jeremy had this. He's like, I've got this idea of doing all of this, and I'm standing back going, okay, really, Jeremy? He's the man. I mean, telling you what, it was so fun. It was amazing. The funny thing I remember, and I know I keep breaking in, is when we pulled the chainsaws out, how many teenagers thought they was going to get to run them? They're all running over like, yeah. Can that thing start up? I'm like, no, you can use it, just, but you can't start it. But we're like, it's so disappointing on so many teenagers' faces. Like, no, you do not get to run a chainsaw. We're running the chainsaw. Really? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I have a few favorite days. I really liked Wednesday. Getting to lead worship was fun, and after service, we got to talk with a lot of, or at least I know I did. I know me and Nick did. We got to talk with a lot of like the people from the church, and it was just really nice to hear everything that they had to say. They were just so sweet, and I really liked Monday too. I think it was Monday because they brought us Mexican food, and it was really good. It was really good. They brought us Mexican food.
Oh, Mexican food, yeah.
And then I think it was probably Wednesday or Thursday. I think it was Thursday. We started doing mulch, and Rob drove the tractor way too fast in our little. He's going at like 15 miles per hour in our thing. We're trying to lay mulch, and he's like, "Get out the way!"
I figured say get out of the way once, and it's a big giant green tractor.
Yeah, people didn't move. Anyways, okay, that was
my favorite day was probably the last day we got to work on the thing, just because we got to like finish everything up, and then that's when they had like pizza and like dessert and everything, and we got to hang out with everyone. And also because we all got to be like, man, we did that, like we created this, Yeah, that's
pretty cool, isn't it?
It is pretty cool.
After you've done something, to stand back and just go, wow, that's really cool. That's cool.
Which day was it that the benches were put in?
I think it was like the third.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would have been Wednesday. Wednesday was pretty great. I mean, mostly because of putting in the benches, and those power tools are really fun.
Is that the first time you've ever...
What are you doing? Taking a video, Mom?
Hey, here we go. Don't look at Mom. Just wave and go, hi, Mom. So
Yeah, I don't like Wednesday.
So is that the first time you used some of those power tools?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gabriel was all about the power tools. He's like, get out of my way.
Oh, yeah. Also, watching the concrete get poured and mixed was fun. Was a lot more fun than you'd think.
So we set the post for the movie screen, and we also set the posts for the volleyball posts. And so we did. We put the concrete in and mixed it and everything, and mixed it all up, and that was really cool. Good job, Gabriel. Good job.
A lot of the days were fun because they all had their own things that were fun because like the wood looked really nice, and okay, I had something to say, but I forgot right as I got the microphone. But so peeling the wood was fun on like one of the days.
So what do you mean? Tell me about peeling the wood.
So after y'all cut the wood, because there were smaller trees and they were good for like little posts to put under the benches, and then they had like planks kinda from the bigger trees, and we peeled the wood off to make it look really pretty, and it looked really nice. And I can't really think of anything.
That really put the wow on that, because that was really, really cool. That was really super cool. They looked really, really good. Okay, got something else. Go for it.
Okay, it's kind of random, but after we got done like doing all the wood and stuff, like all the sap, it made everything smell like cedar, so it smelled really good.
Did the sap get all over your hands?
Yeah, and you can
It was horrible. It did make everything smell like cedar, but the sap, it was like, you go to wash your hands and then you go to pick it up and move it again, and it was just like, so then I got to where I'd be like, okay, you guys come move that. I already washed my hands, but yeah. Does anybody else got anything on those lines?
Cool. At the Airbnb, it was super nice, and they had these like arcade thingies, like an older arcade, but instead of like one game, it had like 2,000 games on it. It was really crazy, and
yeah, it had like Pac-Man, all the old stuff, which was really, really cool. It had several games. We need
everything.
Yeah, it had everything. We need a couple of them. Yeah, that was really cool. That was really cool.
And the view, seeing all the little tiny boats on the lake, because we were like really high up, all the tiny little boats and like the jet skis. You could hear the sound. It was like before the boat. It was really weird.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place up there. Marlo and I really like it as a lake house. Yeah, it was beautiful. I'm joking again. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. All right, my next group, come up. So if you haven't been up, come up. If you haven't been up, come up, and then I'll pull a couple extras up here. All right, there's Warren, and there's 1, 2, 3. I didn't think you'd been up here, Leo. Yeah, come on up, buddy. Come on up. Here you go. Hold that for a second. All right. Hey, real quick, I want to talk about the volleyball court. What did you guys have to do on the volleyball court to make that work, to get that to happen?
So we had to lay down these giant wooden
6x6
posts. 6x6 posts. We had to drill holes into them, hammer them into the ground with rebar. We had to lay down. We had to put concrete. I don't know the proper term for it.
Yeah, we had to set the posts in concrete.
We had to set the post in concrete, and then we had to put up the volleyball net.
So laying those, pass it down a little bit. Laying those 6x6 posts. How did we do that?
Those posts, the thing that took the longest was getting them all set up right. It had to be perfect. We couldn't have them like moved back too far from the other posts. They all had to be set up in the trenches right. And each one of those trenches had to be dug differently because the ground wasn't level.
So I want to point out something you said. We had to dig the trench. So we didn't just lay these posts on the ground, and they had to be perfect. And sometimes you had to dig deeper. And sometimes you had to fill in where you dug too deep, right? So was that fun?
It wasn't very fun. It was. My dad Jeremy, he came around and he was like looking at each post and he was like, "No, we got to move it. Too deep. Take out the post and redig it."
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
It was an annoying part of it, but it made it look better in the end.
Okay, so
that's good.
Pass it down real quick. Start here. What was the hardest thing you did on mission trip?
I don't really know. Everything was pretty easy.
Everything was easy? We did not work him hard enough. I'm just telling you what.
Everyone just worked as a team, so it made everything easy.
What about the fence? Was you on the fence cleanup, the fence line?
Yeah, I was on the fence cleanup. That was wet and muddy. And yeah, we had to pull up the fence by hand, but I couldn't do it. And Thomas came and did it. And it literally made me look bad. Yeah, you did. And mostly what I said, I weakened it for him.
So this fence was there, probably a block, half a block around here. And she said, "Hey, is there any way you guys," and I think she did this because she's seen how quickly and how the outdoor theater looked. She's like, "Well, a lot of snakes come in and the guys that mow, they can't get back there. Is there any way you guys could make like a 6, 7, 8 foot swipe around the fence line?" I was like, "Sure, we'll do that." It was a job. It was a big job. So again, I also want you to tell us the hardest thing you've done. Did anybody get scratched by those
Vines?
Did anybody have scars?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, they have some of the meanest yeah, briar bush thorns. They were mean. They were mean. I think every one of us that first day especially, we came out and we looked like we had been eaten up by a bunch of tigers. It was pretty rough. Hardest thing you did, Tabitha?
My hardest thing was probably just clearing out all the woods, because like he said, there was a lot of like big thorns. Like they weren't the small ones, they were like really big. And then we were dodging like spiders, because oh no, I do not do spiders at all. Not at all. So that's probably my hardest thing.
Hardest thing?
Hardest thing.
I honestly don't know what the hardest thing would technically be. I mean, I feel like all of it was a lot of hard work. But I also think it's really cool that Deborah, the director, she gave us a certain amount of projects to do, and we did them so quick. And I think CJ said this, but she was like, I was worried we weren't going to get anything done like so fast. And honestly, I thought that too. Whenever she said clear out the woods to make the outdoor theater, I was like, there's no way we're gonna finish that. But these kids are hard workers, and so we were able to do that and then some. So every single day she was always like, I have another project. Yeah. And so we did more projects than she planned. You remember what all we did? Oh gosh. So we had the outdoor theater. We had the volleyball pit. We cleared brush about maybe 10 foot from the fence, which took a lot of time. And then we did a couple rooms and different buildings and just organizing a lot of stuff for them.
Yeah, she had a big shed, and she was like, do you think we could get some of your group to come and kind of clean the shed out and also straighten it, organize it? And again, I don't say no. Sure. We opened the shed, and Marlo's shaking her head at Marlo, and it was like, wow, okay, there's a lot in there. And people had donated stuff for about 35 years. And she wanted it all boxed up and set up. They had washers and dryers and everything that needed to get moved. And it was a big project. So we had groups going, and then she's like, oh, wow, you guys move that stuff. She goes, I have all these appliances around here. You think we can stack all these appliances on a trailer so we can haul them to the dump? And so we did. We stacked a ton of appliances on a huge car trailer, and I think. Do you remember how many loads? You guys might help me. How many loads did Jeremy take to the 3 brush? So Jeremy brought this big dump trailer, and I think that was the funnest thing, jumping up and down on the dump trailer.
It was so funny to see. Adam was up there every single time. He was just pushing it down.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, no kidding. It was, but 3. I mean, big trailer, completely full, and I think there was a picture up there, completely full. And we hauled 3 of those, and then all of that. That didn't include all of the trees that we cut down. We hauled them off to the back 40 and got rid of them. All right. So, last question. If there's one thing you could tell someone else about your missions trip, one thing that you would want somebody to know about the missions trip, just you got like 30 seconds each. One thing you would tell somebody about the missions trip. You got it in your hand.
I just think any kind of mission trip can change your life, and you'll always remember it. But just being surrounded by a great community and a great group of kids really changed my life. I feel like I haven't laughed. I laughed so hard, and Nick knows exactly what I'm talking about. I laughed so hard that entire week, and it was just such a great week with all these kids. But I definitely really look up to a lot of these kids, and I think you guys have really awesome kids. But it was a really great trip, and they're really hard workers, and I don't know. I always love going on these trips just to see how God moves. So it's very life-changing.
Tabitha, one thing you would tell somebody about the missions trip?
Probably that if you don't want to go, then you're really missing out, because you really do bond and make a good community, not just there but here too, because you can tell we got a lot of stronger relationships throughout like the youth group and just in general. So I just think you're missing out if you're not going. So.
One thing. If you could just tell somebody one thing about the mission trip, what would that one thing be?
I feel like if you go on a mission trip, you make better relationships, make more friends, hang out with them, and you might not like work, but working with your friends will help you maybe like working a little more.
That's cool. That's awesome. Warren, what you got?
One thing that I would say you'd be missing out on is the fun moments you get, and you should really enjoy the moments you get because a lot of them are pretty funny. One thing, I think it was the last night we were at the Airbnb, and we were all standing out on the deck watching this girl behind a boat, and she was trying to learn how to waterboard, and she just kept falling, and we were trying not to laugh too loud because she
couldn't have heard you.
It was close enough that if we all laughed together, she probably would have heard, and we were all just like snickering to ourselves watching her fall.
That's cool.
It was just a funny moment.
That's cool.
If you don't want to work, don't go. We work hard. We get a lot of stuff done. We have fun.
That's cool. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. Brooke's going, no.
We were just talking about, we forgot, nobody mentioned that the church was haunted that one night.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so the youth pastor the night before was like, what was the ghost name? Debbie. The night before comes in and tells the whole youth group, we do have a church ghost here. Her name is Debbie is what we call her. Okay, so that was the night before. Then the next night, all of a sudden, Debbie showed up. Everybody, kids come running to me. Brother Rob, somebody is shooting in the gym. It's like, what? So somebody was throwing firecrackers, okay? Actually, they weren't firecrackers. They were heavy, big snap things. What are they called? What are they? Snapdragons. Snapdragons, yeah. They sound like a bomb going off. And so they were like, and I'm like, what? And I'm thinking, all right, what? So all of a sudden, I go into the gym, and there's a door that's open up there, and I'm like, okay, that door wasn't open. And then I'm getting ready to turn around, and I hear, pow! And I'm like, okay, all right. So then all of a sudden, everybody's running to me going, this place is haunted. And I'm like, okay, this is cool, because if you're smart enough to figure out, if the youth pastor don't say the church is haunted unless he's going to do something the next night, right? And so Mr. Nathan, the youth pastor, and a friend was running around throwing this stuff, and I was like, all right, Nathan, come on, it's getting late. And I was like, okay, it's on. I'm like, all right, guys, find him and hurt him. And everybody... And so everybody was running all over that church trying to find him, and they was in complete black. And I actually had to go to my sponsors and say, okay, there are two guys running around in complete black. They are friendly, okay? They're playing with us. Nathan afterwards was like, I probably should have told you. I was like, yeah, you should have, but no, it was fun. So realized their church wasn't haunted. It was a setup. That was funny, though. That was good. Thank you so much. One more thing, real quick. We are over time.
So I think we went to Brahms on the second to last night. We're all pulled up right in front of an enterprise building, and an automated message said for him to get off the property.
We will call the police. We will haul your van and take you to jail if you don't move. Yeah, I was like, I think I ought to move this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. All right. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Real quick, I'm finishing up right here and right now. It was an amazing trip. Students, they worked so hard. It's kind of funny because in all the talking, nobody said anything about Silver Dollar City. Silver Dollar City was a fun trip. I always want to take somebody on. If I'm going to work you to death, I want to take you somewhere fun. But this is usually the case. Everybody's glad they went to Silver Dollar City. Everybody's glad they had a lot of fun. Everybody looks forward to that. But when you get back from a mission trip, that's not the highlight. The highlight is the work. The highlight is what you've done. The highlight is the way the people reacted to you and the tears when we're leaving And that's the highlight. And that is the coolest thing in the world. And that's why I want to take them fun places. That's why I want to take them Silver Dollar City or Six Flags, because the trip isn't about the fun. It's about the work. And I think that's what a reward is supposed to be for. I can't thank you enough as a church for sponsoring us, for sending us. And I honestly, as I started up, I really think we represented our church and our God in the best light ever. It'll be a missions trip I don't ever forget. It was amazing. Will every missions trip be this hard work? No, every missions trip is different. Some mission trips we go on and it's doing VBS or doing a church camp. Every missions trip is different. And I love it. I don't remember who said it. Don't miss out. You know, and here's one thing I will say. As an adult, if you've never got to go with a group, you're missing out. You know, it's my biggest honor, Marlo's biggest honor, that we've got to do this for so many years. So many memories, and watching so many kids get closer to God by working so hard. I thank you so much. And I want to thank all my sponsors that went with us, because, you know, going up there, I needed a lot of people with a lot of eyes, because I knew there was going to be either snakes and spiders and lions and tigers and bears, oh my. But I didn't know what to expect, and I needed a lot of people to help supervise. But as my sponsors will tell you, if you go with me as a sponsor, I don't sit back and watch. I work. And I expect them to work too. And they do. They work their tails off. So much so they tell me they're never coming back. But then next year they want to come back. So it's crazy. I want to thank you so much. I'm going to ask everybody that went on the missions trip here in just a second. Right before I pray, I'm going to ask you to go back and if you have any questions for them, ask them in the lobby. You've seen a lot of pictures and a lot of things, you know, cutting the rebar, and they learned so many different things, and they've done so many different things. It's hard to remember, but ask them questions back there. So as I finish here one more time, thank you so much. Thank you so much, and I don't think we could have represented God or the church any more than we did. You have a great group of kids here at this church, and I am so proud of them. Thank you, parents. So let's all stand up. If you went on the missions trip with me, we're going to empty this building. Go out in the lobby. If you went on the missions trip with me, go out in the lobby. Sponsor, student. I want to say Aiden. Where's Aiden? He drove up. Listen to this. This is so cool. Found out we didn't have a drummer on the Wednesday night service. Drove up there on Wednesday night and then stayed and worked that next morning before he had to leave and come back home and go to work. Incredible. Thank you, Aiden. Thank you so much. All right. So let's pray real quick. Father, we love you. We thank you so much, and I thank you for the opportunity to go and serve others, to be able to fulfill, the end of Matthew 28, and share your amazing grace and love with other people, and doing it through deeds and speech and work. I love you, God. I thank you for the opportunity, and I thank you for this church and their willingness to send. In Jesus' name. Everybody said, amen. Thank you guys so much. How does this one work?
No, that one is right there.